Crypto Pirates. Welcome to your Discourse Syndicate Captain RG3 here, steering the ship, bringing you some really cool content tonight. Excited to be on. Got my Nomics hat on for this special occasion, guys. Let me say hello to the chat room real quick. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Hexicans, non-Hexicans, crypto junkies, all you guys out there that are joining us today for this one. I know that we've been waiting for it. This has been a long time coming. I'm so glad to have the guests that we have today. It's going to be cool. Let me say hello to everybody who's in the chat room. And I know you guys, I know all of my tech geeks are in the chat, just like chomping at the bit and dying to ask your ridiculously, insanely, over-the-top tech questions. And you'll get to do that. I'll put them up. I'll let you guys ask them. But first, I'm going to have a go at it. Talk to Clay, get to know him, and you guys can have at it too. So anyway, Machiavelli, hey, my crazy crypto pirate Hexican. Cabana Crypto, hey, welcome, bud. Everybody, Cabana, get on his YouTube, follow, like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. Another Hexican OG out there laying it down on the YouTubes. Dragon, welcome, Dragon. Reggie Bone, Hex Squadron, Hex Famous, and Hex Toshi. And Hex Cuddy, look at all the Hexican names out there. Hexander, who else? Crypto King. Crypto King is out there. Our man hitting the streets, bringing the guests in, introducing all the crypto and non-crypto world to our show. Basically out there hitting the pavement and bringing people in. Cass Rowlett, what's up, OG? Franklin St. Hex, my Puerto Rican buddy. Well, he's not Puerto Rican, but we're going to be neighbors in Puerto Rico. Crypto Vince, Nardo for the win. Another cutthroat. By the way, Franklin's a cutthroat too. Edison Cost One. Hey, let's go. Yep. Blue Bum. What's up? So what's up, everybody? Ballot Brand, David Fetter, all the regs in here. I think I even seen Whales Only. Yep, there's Whales Only. What's up, fam? What's up, dude? Hex on the Beach. Man, the whole gang's in here tonight, and we're Brissology, my other crazy Hexican. Good to see you guys. Glad you're here. This guest is somebody we've been wanting to talk to for a long time. Clay Collins of Nomics. Look, guys, and by the way, everybody look at that nice big DS pump green candle on the Hex chart. Will you look at it? Will you look at that beautiful, upright, erect green candle sitting there? I mean, come on, guys. Does it happen every Discourse Syndicate show? Does it not? We pump, right? Sitting at over 2 cents. Way back when did we when we were little baby Satoshis, did we moon talk about 1 penny, 2 penny? Yes, we did. And guess what, guys? We're here. We made it. We're here. We're legit. We're talking to freaking coin aggregator CEOs now. I mean, look at this. We've come a long way from being the scammers and the misfits of crypto to actually talking to legitimate people in the space. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our new friend and from what all we can gather, a supporter of Hex, Clay Collins.
Captain, it's great to be here, man. I love the intro and just the whole thing you got going on. It's a lot of fun.
Oh man, yeah, when I got into crypto, I'm an old punk rocker from back in the day, so I've always been this kind of anti-hero kind of dude, and pirates just always fit into that genre for me, that persona. And, I don't like the cosplay as a pirate, but just my persona. That's what I feel crypto is like the financial pirates of the world. And so that's why the theme is we are the crypto pirates. And the Hexicans are the best at it. They're the absolute naturals at being crypto pirates.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Well, it's awesome to be here.
It's good to have you. And the reason that you're even on the stream with us is because from the beginning, Nomics has been very, very kind to Hex. And but before we even get into that, I want to find out a little bit about you, who you are, where you come from, your background. I know a little bit from what I've kind of scraped off the internet and stuff. But I mean, let's go all the way back. I want to know what makes you tick and what makes your product, your company tick, and why you do what you do. So who is Clay? Where are you from, man? And like give me, you don't have to tell me how old you are, but what generation do you come from anyway?
Oh man, I'm not up on all of that. I think I barely don't, like, I'm not a millennial, so I'm not young enough to be a millennial by like a year or two.
So you're like the end of an Xer or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
yep, exactly.
So I'm like a beginning Xer and you're like an end Xer. So we're like bookends on the X generation.
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm 40. I can just say that I'm 40. I just turned 40. I feel old, but
oh man, wait till you hit over the 50 mark. It's like that's when it starts really catching up. Face starts looking different, body starts working different. You know, nobody understands what the hell you're pissed off about all the time, you know. And it's like, wake up in my body and you'll wonder what, and you'll know why I'm pissed off all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I can give you a little background on just, you know, my entrepreneurial journey. I started off, a long time ago. I dropped out of high school and started a software company. Raised $250,000 a long time ago when and did that for a bit. And then just did various kinds of online marketing, affiliate marketing. Things of that nature. Started my first software company in 2013 called Lead Pages, and that was a landing page and website generation software. Raised $38 million in venture capital. Grew that to well over 40,000 paying customers, and Lead Pages acquired a company called Drip, which is marketing automation software, email marketing automation software for e-commerce companies. And that has also grown and been a lot of fun. And I think
when did you do that? When was Lead Pages established?
Yeah, Lead Pages was established in 2013.
Okay, in 13. Okay.
Yeah. So so my career in software, really starts around 2013. It starts with Lead Pages, goes to Drip, and then I'd say the third company that I've been involved with is Nomics. So I think there's a whole generation of entrepreneurs, like crypto entrepreneurs, that started in crypto first, and I think that's really fantastic. I think they have some really fresh perspective on a whole bunch of things. But I've been doing this for a bit, and it's really I think Nomics was envisioned, or sort of like the spirit behind Nomics is really the same spirit behind. Or sort of the product thesis is similar to the product thesis behind like a Twilio or a SendGrid or some of these APIs first companies. So we shipped our API first. We started selling our API first, and then we built the website to kind of be our own customer of the API.
Yeah, because that's what basically Nomics is, all of your guys' work, right?
Yep. So
wait, I'm going to stop you for a minute before you're going all the way into Geekville. I want to get out of Geekville. I want to go back even before 2013.
Sure.
So
what
were you doing? What were you doing before that? What I want to know what made Clay get into crypto? What made Clay become an entrepreneur? What was happening? So you drop out of high school. I mean, shit. Yeah. I mean, I was 16. I was living beside the side of the freeway when I was 16. My mom had to sign off the paperwork to get me in the Marine Corps, get me off the streets. So I understand that whole thing. They actually made me go to like my last year of school. So I had to barter my way out basically to get in the Marine Corps and get out of the area I was. I mean, you drop out of high school and then all of a sudden you own a software company. But back up. Tell me what happened in between there, because there's a success story or something going on in there.
Yeah. So I grew up on a farm in rural Southern California, and I was.
So we're homies.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. So
I'm in SoCal.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, so kind of near the Salton Sea area, Joshua Tree.
Oh, okay.
So way out there. And yeah, so my grandfather, whose citrus nursery I grew up on, has grown more trees than anyone who's ever lived. He grew about 600,000 trees a year, and I've got a tattoo of a citrus tree on my arm.
That's
And
awesome.
the colors here are represent the daisy mandarin, because my grandfather created a type of fruit and named it after my grandmother. And because it was so sweet, he named it after her. So that was kind of an ode to her.
I'm gonna go look for it because I don't know if you know, but here in the Inland Empire in Riverside, they actually
I've been to
have.
Riverside. That's
What's
cool.
that?
I've been to Riverside several times.
Well,
Cool.
there's actually a citrus museum
Oh,
out
cool.
here, and they have just about every damn citrus tree that you can imagine. So you walk through it, it's a garden, and they've got citrus trees from all over the world. I'm gonna go look for your grandmother's citrus tree to see if it's in there.
Awesome. Yeah. So UC Riverside set up a research facility on my grandfather's nursery.
Okay.
So did a lot of work with them on citrus trees and the whole science behind that. Yeah. So I think because I was homeschooled out there, I kind of sort of learned that there wasn't this real separation, or I wasn't socialized into believing there was a separation between the learning environment and the home environment. So I think it was very natural that that I'd become an entrepreneur, because I think being an entrepreneur, represents sort of the erosion of the line between your work life and your home life, right? It's just all life. It's all one fluid thing. So dropping out of high school was pretty easy because I was homeschooled, and I was very comfortable doing things that were socially unconventional, and I was really interested in software back then. I'd been programming for quite some time, and I thought there were some interesting problems to solve. But
what was your first computer?
My very first computer was an Apple II, an Apple IIc.
Oh.
Yeah.
That
was like that would have been like 80, 85, 86.
Yeah.
So
right when I left to go in the Marine Corps, that's when the computers, the Apple IIcs and all that was coming out and stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So so dropped out, and I did later go to college, and then graduated from college and started a PhD program in developmental neuropsychology. So I was really interested in psychology and all that. Really? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I think the problem, I don't know. I keep on bringing it back to the nerdy stuff. But
that's okay. Go. I don't want to stop you. I just wanted to get to. I wanted to get to the root of the story and where it came from.
So, so back when we were developing lead pages and drip, and those products have continued. And
so was that your first entrepreneurial endeavor? Was lead pages? Was jumping right into that and developing that?
That was my first software entrepreneurial endeavor. I sold. My parents had a fruit stand by the side of the road, and I sold grapefruit juice and orange juice and stuff like that. So I've been selling shit for a long time. Good. But yeah, that was my first software entrepreneurial endeavor. I did a bunch of things on the internet that were not software, but were I think entrepreneurial endeavor. I had one of the top ranked compost pail sites. I was doing e-commerce. Back when there was a site called Dig, I had a business that was around, doing marketing related to Dig. So I kind of have this direct sales marketing background.
A lot of the same skills that Richard kind of first got into to the computer world with.
Yeah, I'd say
type of marketing.
Yeah, I think it does sound like he has a background in direct sales, digital marketing, and I think I think that it's kind of a double-edged sword. that kind of marketing is really good at getting consumers to take action. I think the downside of that kind of marketing is that it tends to be discarded by academics, by institutions. Anything where there's a countdown timer and sort of this call to scarcity, something's going away. Anything that looks like it was explicitly designed, to create this the psychological element of scarcity and sort of the feeling that something is being taken away, and then a big yellow conversion rate optimized call to action button. Those things tend to not engender trust. So I think it's very effective in one sense, but it also has drawbacks as well.
Well, right on. Well, you said something important to me, and you said trust. And so you see, being a psychologist or being trained in psychology, you understand it, and you understand psychological marketing. And but you keep saying trust, and I hear a lot of things like integrity and all that kind of stuff. What makes you tick as far as, why is Nomics? Where do you get your integrity from? What makes you feel like that's the best way to market versus all the gadgets and gizmos and stuff that work?
Yeah, I think that I've definitely been in places in my life when when marketing absolutely had to work. So I remember the second time I dropped out of graduate school and I moved in back with my parents when I was 26, and I started a business. And I think they had they were wondering if I was ever going to make it. And I started a business and had built up an email list. And I was a copywriter, and I remember writing copy and sort of the urgency of having to sort of craft the perfect message, knowing that that this marketing campaign had to work because I was just unwilling to live with my parents. And so I think everything that I've done, I stand behind. The copy and the promises. I think that said, there's a certain sort of visual presentation of marketing. There's a way of writing copy that where maybe factually what you're saying is true, but it's done in a way that just seems like these types of long form sales letters that someone might get in the mail from someone selling like a financial newsletter. And so once you sort of visually get lumped in with that crowd, and the copy you're writing gets lumped in with that crowd, it's hard to really kind of extract yourself from that. So I think there's sort of this superficial element of this where you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is perceived to be in line with the spirit of what you're trying to accomplish. And then also, I think the content itself has to be true and sort of, represent a brand that you feel allows you to sleep at night.
Mm-hmm. Do what you say what you do, right?
Yep, exactly.
And I think that people who've had challenges in their life or dealt with hardships or failures or been on the underneath had the foot on your neck kind of guys, I think those are the people that really try and stand out as far as their integrity goes. That was me. I was always an underachiever, an overperformer, underachiever type, but I always was able to do what you said, is put my head on my pillow at night and go, you know what, I did a great fucking job today, and it didn't mess with my integrity, so I can sleep well, and I've seen a lot of other people not do that, and they've lost something in themselves, or they never get it, never get it. And that's why I was interested in bringing you on, because I did watch a couple of your interviews, and I said, there's a little more to this guy than just some tech geek out there. This guy ticks a different way. And to have embraced Hex like you have with your site, while everybody else is gatekeeping, I really wanted to speak to that and hear, what was the reason for not following the status quo and for picking Hex, and saying, you know what, I'm not going to be the one that does this to this product here like the rest of them have.
Yeah. So I think to get to that, I need to speak to kind of the technical underpinnings of what we're trying to accomplish. So, so at Lead Pages and Drip, sort of the size of our customer base was constrained by like the total addressable market. Was basically the universe of users of the software we integrated with. So if you're using our landing page software and you want email opt-ins to go to like MailChimp, if we don't support MailChimp, we can't have you as a customer, right? If you're using Salesforce, if we don't integrate with Salesforce, we can't have you as a customer. So at Lead Pages, we needed to be able to quickly create as many integrations as possible, because that was the limiting factor on our growth at one point. And so I got really interested in integrations and kind of these integration as a service platforms like Zapier that support just I think now thousands of integrations and sort of act as this translator or this Rosetta Stone between different software apps. So when we went to create Nomics, when I was first looking, or when we first started the company, or we're investigating, the business model behind it, if we integrated with about 12 different exchanges, we could account for 90% of the trading volume on a given day. Roughly 4 months later, we needed to integrate with about 32 exchanges in order to get 90% of the trading volume. And since then, it's really kind of exploded. The number of exchanges and the number of assets that exist has gone off the charts. So Nomics was created from day one to be able to quickly add as many exchanges as possible and as many assets as possible. And that's why we presently have the best coverage. We have more active exchanges, we have more actively traded tokens, and we have more exchange markets, so a trading pair on a given exchange, than anyone else. And so we blow everyone out of the water on those dimensions, and the speed at which we add new markets and new exchanges and new tokens. So we weren't built, I think there's a certain class of aggregator that kind of considers themselves to be a ratings agency and a curator. And from day one, we wanted to be the opposite of that. If someone publishes a token, we're going to list it. And we have no interest in gatekeeping. We have no interest in, being a tastemaker or, sort of putting our stamp on various projects and saying that we endorse them or we don't. We simply want to present the data. And to the extent that we think that the data is truthful and it isn't, it isn't the result of wash trading or fraudulent activity, and we have things in place to catch that, to the extent that we believe the data is correct, we think it should be presented. And so I really don't understand. I mean, I have some theories about the gatekeeping that's happening to Hex and why some of the other providers are doing it. And I think for some of them, it has to do with their sort of the technical limitations of their engineering org.
So let me talk about that real quick and ask you. So you said, so basically Nomics integrity is based on its AI and how it can detect scam wicks, fake volume, wash trading, those kinds of things, correct?
I don't know if my CTO would allow me to say AI. I think it has to do with the algorithms and the engineering and the technology that we have in place that allows us to present as much as possible to the market. And our theory is we want to include everything. If someone creates some 10x ETH token bull or bear thing, there were tokens representing, prediction markets for who's going to be president of the United States. There was the Biden token and there was the Trump token. So we want to be able to list those things in those exchanges and the decentralized exchanges as quick as possible. Like if something goes up on Uniswap, we're going to have it live within like 5 minutes. So I think our philosophy is let's include everything. We want to index, just like Google's indexing the entire internet, or they try to. We want to include everything. This is everyone's welcome here. For the most part,
and be the historical marker of all of that information, right?
Right.
Because I love history. I'm not a day trader guy. I'm a historian.
Yep.
I like looking at the data and taking a look at it historically, because I know that, the Fibonacci and the golden ratio and all of I know that history is always repeating itself and it goes in cycles. And that's the best way to kind of look at things from a macro level, is go, look, this is where we're at in this point in time. This is where it's going. This is what we're in for. This is what's going to happen. Because historically, when you look at any chart, it's always from down here to up here to the right, right? I mean, they're always that way. There's just all these dips in between where people's lives have been won or destroyed in between those dips, and kind of like the dash on your grave marker, the date before and the date after. The dash in the middle is your life. Well, those between those peaks and valleys are people's financial lives, but macroeconomics shows that it's always gone up and to the right through time. But having a historical record of it, is that what you guys are striving to do, is just to keep that historical record? And I know that you guys are getting into local Bitcoins and the OTC desks and, and all of the trading platforms, DEXs, and you guys are even talking as far as indexes, futures, options, and all that kind of stuff too, right?
Yeah. So we want to include as much as possible. I think there's decisions we have to make, that we can't do everything. But yeah, we definitely want to be the archive for as much as possible. So we keep the records of various dead coins, inactive exchanges, inactive trading pairs, because we think that data is important. We think it's we'd like to be an archivist for the space, and it's fairly inexpensive to store these things. What is expensive is, creating the ingestion systems and the index systems that allow you to take in as much as possible. So, for example, one theory I have, and I have no way to confirm if this is true, but one of, ourselves, CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, we all publish our pricing methodologies. And what is often not addressed in those pricing methodologies is how outlier detection is done. So all the time, any website that is publishing, sort of the aggregate price of Bitcoin across all the trading pairs, across all the exchanges, at any given time, especially as the space grows, some exchange, even a really high quality exchange, is sending over crap data.
The scam wicks or whatever.
Or it could just be that their API is down and they're persisting the last candle. So some of these APIs, sort of cache their data. So if the API goes down, the cache persists. And so you ask, what's the price? What's the price? What's the price? And it might be down for 5 hours. And every time you ping it, it's going to give you the last price as what it was 5 hours ago. So that's an example. Something else we saw was a fairly popular exchange switched the base and the quote currency. So usually it's, if you have a BTC to USD pair, that's BTC quoted in USD, but instead, what you got was, they were publishing that feed, but it was USD quoted in BTC. So at any given time, you get something that's way off. And so what we need to do, and what other websites need to do, is find ways to filter through that crap so that they're not publishing a price, for example, for Hex or for Bitcoin that nobody trusts. So there's a lot of questions there. Like, do you include Korean exchanges? Do you discount, just because, on a volume weighted basis, just because they're buying it for more, does that mean that sort of the data from an entire country should be excluded? There's a lot of judgment calls here. But what I think might be happening. Oh, and I've got actually some other theories here too. But so I suspect.
But you do have to go with market consensus too, though. I mean, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's like, hey, we don't want the Korean numbers to skew what we've got going on here. So please don't add that, or I mean.
Yeah. So for example, there was an article that came out maybe 3 years ago. There's a slew of them when CoinMarketCap all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, reduced the price of Bitcoin by a few $1,000s, which was significant at the time. And what I suspect is that they algorithmically excluded all the Korean exchanges. So it crossed some threshold, and then they were algorithmically excluded. So I suspect what's happening with CoinMarketCap is that rather than using technology or algorithms to to filter for quality data and poor quality data, they've created a bunch of sort of manual gates. Like, you need to be listed on X number of exchanges. You need to be, your token has to be on X number of, regulated exchanges that meet X and Y criteria, because it's a lot easier to create these, these manual systems for filtering data than it is to do it, purely on an algorithmic basis. And I'm sure they're doing that too. But if you can have both, the chances of publishing something that people are concerned about is lower. But I don't know. Maybe it's purely, it's really hard to know what's going on there. But our, the spirit of what we're doing is we want to include everything, and if we think the data is right, we're going to publish it. So so I'd say, I personally I bought a little Hex, and I hold some BTC. Yeah, and I hold some BTC, and I when you could get some free Hex, I did that too. So I'm staking some Hex. I'd say, it's not inaccurate to say that I'm a supporter of Hex, but I think Nomics as a whole just believes in, publishing the truth as it exists, and trying to keep our opinions out as much as possible. So I'd say whether my opinion of Hex was favorable or negative is pretty much irrelevant. We're just trying to publish the truth, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to the extent that we can.
Well, that's interesting right there to hear that from you, because you said that with the look on your face. It's like, hey, it's the truth, and that's what we've been yelling at the roof, off the rooftops from the beginning, because we all, a lot of us here, myself and a lot of the people in the community here, they've been with the product. We don't call it a project, we call it a product because it's finished, it's done. Yeah. And we've been from the beginning, from its inception. Richard's been talking to us ad nauseum about what he was going to do, how he was going to do it, the launch, putting it off, showing his integrity. Guys, it's not ready. I'm not going to launch it until it's ready. We got to get our security audits. We got to get our financial audits. We've got to our economics audits. We got to do all this before we can launch it, and push the launch date out. Pissed everybody off, but he showed his integrity by doing so. And when he did launch it, and here we are over a year later, not an ounce of downtime. Nobody's been scammed like a lot of the maximalists have said out there that, Hex is a scam and it's going to do this to you and Richard's going to run with your money and all this other crap. And all we've ever done as Hexicans is by the way, you're an honorary Hexican now that you've said you're going to stake Hex and get Hex.
No, I am. I'm presently staking Hex.
So you're an honorary Hexican. We've all followed what Richard has done and said, and we don't understand why when we launched the pushback that we got, and it was like, hey guys, if you knew what we knew, like, listen to us. Look at Richard is telling the truth. This is what we know, and this is what's happening. And watch it. 3 months, 6 months into it, it kept, all the things that they said that were going to happen never happened. And then we started getting kept by all of the coin ranking sites. And it was like just another slap in the face on top of, all of the maxis out there. I won't name them by name, but all the maxis out there were just shit talking Richard and the product and us too. They were calling us, radicals, and which we were okay with because we never had any problem. We kind of liked it, I guess, the underdog, tag that we got from that. And we're known as, piranhas when somebody messes with somebody on Twitter or something. It's like, everybody gangs up on them and there is no Hexican left behind kind of thing,
Nice.
So we've gotten that reputation, but for good reason, because we're passionate about what it is we're doing. Because see, you've been in crypto obviously for a while, and you've been through some of the ups and downs. You've seen a lot of the nefarious actors. I liken it to where very, very smart, nerdy guys got together with some very nefarious marketing guys and created the space. So you've got all these very, very smart guys being led by these very, very nefarious marketing guys. And we got what we got today versus the world's greatest means of exchange and a way to get rid of the banks and do all of this stuff that crypto was supposed to do. It was usurped by these P.T. Barnums and charlatans, and all the smart guys are like underneath them. I kind of equate it to Breaking Bad. You got this really, really smart guy and he gets corrupted by a marketer, and we get what we get today. So it's hard to find integrity. But Hex is operated that way. Our whole community is operated that way. And I'll tell you, when the first time Nomics was brought to the community, and it was a hallelujah day. It was like, everybody, Nomics finances, finally somebody is actually, putting our true market cap up, and it was like wildfire through the community, and everybody became Nomics fans at that point, and
That's awesome.
we've all been using that's all we promote, is like, if you want to see the real price of Hex, if you want to see take the real temperature of cryptocurrencies and Hex itself, go to Nomics. And that's our whole narrative.
That's awesome. And we're really grateful. It's the last I checked, at least on Google, when it comes to Google's, we track roughly 3,000, roughly 3,500 key terms ranked by Google. And we're currently in third place among the aggregators in terms of who Google is sending traffic to. So, number one is CoinMarketCap. Number two is CoinGecko. Number three is Nomics. So, we attribute the sort of the success we've had to the fact that we list everything. And I think there's more communities. There's several communities that have just been unfairly treated by some of the other people that we welcome into the fold and that we want to include. And I think when we first put Hex where it is, we received some comments, and we had an internal conversation about, is this going to be a liability to the trustworthy of our site? And I guess what we came away with was that it it really doesn't matter what the academic class, the tastemakers think. And I think that's where I don't understand the stance that some of the maximalists have towards Hex. It's a smart contract. It's on the blockchain. You can go look at the code. So I don't know what the issue is. But
we both know what the issue is, Clay. Clay, let's have this quick conversation. Look, you're a tech guy from the first Apple IIc. You came from Apple IIc to where you are today. Okay. Now, would you go back to your Apple IIc? No. Why in this tech world? Why in tech finance? Why are we looking at Bitcoin and going, that's the master? That's what should be ruling this space. Well, because people have bags of it. It has nothing to do with what it is, because if we were really who we are as tech people, we'd be going, okay, Ethereum and the things that are being built on Ethereum and blockchain technology is where we should be today. We should thank you, Bitcoin. Thank you for paving the way and getting us started, Apple IIc. But you know what? We're over here now with i9s. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I want to be on the record here and say I am a fan of Bitcoin, and for a variety of reasons. But that doesn't mean that I don't hold other projects or other tokens. I'm not a maximalist, and I think that the potential market cap of digital gold is much smaller than the potential market cap of decentralized finance, right? Like if you look at the whole market for sort of stocks and derivatives, M1, M2 money supply, and then you've got gold. It's a small fraction, it's like a couple percentage points of the overall total, but I don't know how all this is going to play out, and I don't know if it's necessarily a feature war. I think if I had to guess what the prejudice against Hex is, it's probably just been that sort of the way you do marketing in this space is you speak to the pedigree of your tech team, where they went to college, what projects they've been in. You speak to the strength of the tech. You use a lot of sort of acceptable jargon to market what you're doing, and then when the price pumps, you sort of allude to it, or you slip it in, or you can speak to it, but you can only mention it, like 1 out of every 4 times. You've got to have the right ratio of like tech conversation to price conversation, and it's almost like like dating, if you're single and you're at a bar and your main goal is is more short-term in nature, but you're supposed to act, you're supposed to do a whole bunch of ceremonious things that you're not interested at that point in. There's an acceptable way to do things, and there's an unacceptable way to do things. And I think Hex just probably didn't follow most of the rules there, and maybe got dinged for it.
I think that's part of it. I think that so what the backstory to that, just to inform you, was cool. So Richard, literally, if you go back and watch, I don't know if you've watched any of Richard's old videos.
Oh yeah, I have.
With the top hat.
He's with the candles behind him, and he's got that pickup artist background. He's got the whole peacock. Well, peacocking. Yeah.
I've got a couple of things to say about his game, but hey, you know what? Whatever works for him, Anyway, I guess I fished in different ponds or whatever, but. Yeah. But see, Richard has always been a lot of his stuff was self-help stuff. Stop video gaming, stop wasting time, longevity, quit trading. You're getting wrecked, save yourself, get yourself into something stable, those kinds of things. So he's always had a great message with ethics behind it. Yeah. But he's a marketer, I guess his claim to fame as far as FUD goes was he was like the first guy to ever get busted for spamming email spam or whatever. He was called the Spam King. So he got this label or whatever. So it was like this big deal. Like Richard's a spammer, you know. Wow. Well, so he was the first guy that actually found out a way to market efficiently, you know. I mean, so he got that label. But what he did learn was a lot of marketing tactics and techniques. And he saw this space and he saw what worked in this space. And what worked in this space was shiny objects, and people would just dump their money into these shiny objects and they wouldn't even look into it or care. As long as you had this web page that said you're going to make $1 million or you were going to do really good or blah, 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 then they jump in. Yep. So was his marketing technique. It's like, okay, well, if I can't teach these people how to save themselves from trading and all this other crap that's out there, I'll put the bait out there for them and bring them into something good and teach them later. So that was the initial marketing plan was, you know, a lot of this, you know, glitz and glam and things. And it didn't go over well in the regular community, of course, in the maxi community. As soon as they saw it, they, you know, anybody who did any research at all on Hex, the first thing that they Googled was, you know, all the scam stuff came up and, you know, crazy looking websites and 10,000X and all this stuff. And so rather than do any real research, the mini maxis, I like to call them, you know, not the main characters out there in the BTC, you know, YouTube world, but the mini maxis who had shows like mine, they didn't do their research. They go, one Google search, I see Richard Hart as a scammer. I'll watch one Peter McCormick video, him calling Richard a scammer. Okay, I'm done. And I'll just call it a scam on my stream too. So that blew up out there in the YouTube world, and every half coiner guy that was out there with a chart behind him in a YouTube video was saying, oh yeah, stay away from Hex. It's a scam, blah, blah, blah. So that was the intro to Hex's that was our intro into the world. I mean, on top of that, you know, I mean, the launch day itself, you know, Tone Vase actually gang raped Richard on stream with like 2 or 3 lawyers and said, hey, you're going to jail, buddy. On the day he launched Hex, they literally did that on the day. Go watch that video. It's pathetic. Wow. The lawyers actually ganged up on him. And instead of congratulating him, hey, good luck to you, Richard, it was literally they jumped him like, you're gonna go to jail. You better stop what you're doing right now. And Richard's like, what are you talking about? I'm working for 2 years on this. I've been in the space. I know much more than you guys, and I'm not going to be a smart person and just lay back. If they give me a cease and desist, I will, you know? And that was literally day one. I was just appalled by that. And I was like, you know what, I got to get behind this thing now and help, because this is not going to go over well in the crypto community. So.
Yeah, I think in general, the people with the longest time horizons tend to win in crypto, and I think the Lindy effect is real, and you know, I think that time tends to be the best judge of everything, and so the fact that there hasn't been any rug pulls, that it is you know, it's DeFi, you know, it's a smart contract. It's on chain. It's built on Ethereum. You know, that everything has gone smoothly so far. I think that speaks to the integrity of the project.
Yeah.
So
that's what we believe, and that's why we stream all the time. I don't know if you've seen, but you go to YouTube and
oh my God, you guys are crazy.
Streams.
You guys are nuts. You guys are insane. It's great to feel so passionate about something.
Yeah, it is, and
it
just
seems to have worked out well for you all, financially as well. So.
We've those of us who have gotten in early, and well, even those are getting in now. I mean, people that just got in a couple of weeks ago, they just 2x'd, you know. I mean, it's like
Awesome.
Hex is doing great, and so none of us can complain. That's for sure. I mean, I don't do this for money, to be honest. I do it for Richard and for Hex and for the community, and it's been a blast. And
well, you guys all have to keep yourself occupied somehow, some way or another, while you're staking. You're just like,
yeah, it's not the most exciting
trade
crypto on the planet. So yeah, but, one question I did want to ask you to just kind of tie up the whole Nomics in a bow.
Yeah.
When you guys do see a bad actor, a crypto that's not doing the right thing, or you do see fake volume, or you do see a wash trading situation, what's the process? What do you guys do? How do you delist, or how do you what is Nomics process for handling that?
Yeah, so we have exchange transparency grades that are based on the quality of the data that's provided by these exchanges. So if you're an exchange that provides like complete historical trade data and meet a few other criteria, then you'll get an A rating, and that means we can reconstruct your candles. We can see the full history of every trading pair on your exchange. Even trading pairs that are no longer, that are no longer active. So if you provide a certain level of transparency, then we'll give you an A grade.
So you got a scale then.
Yeah, like we need to be able to get access to a certain level of granularity of data on your exchange so that we can, run our proprietary processes for kind of like auditing the activity. And there have been some instances where exchanges provide a high quality of data, but it's just fraudulent data. But it's harder to do. So, for example, if you're being audited by the IRS, best case scenario is they ask for a short amount of history, and they only want summary statements. But if they come in and they're like, I want every receipt for the last 10 years, it's going to be very hard to hide fraudulent activity. So what we're essentially asking for from our A-rated exchanges is we want every receipt, for the entire life of your exchange. And if you're a good exchange, it should be no problem providing that. Coinbase provides that, and Gemini provides that. A whole bunch of other exchanges that have.
How does that work for DEXs?
Yeah, so the issue with DEXs, that's a great question. The issue with DEXs is that even though some of this stuff is on chain, sometimes the order books are on chain, sometimes they aren't. Actually getting at the data is can be really hard. So just because all the data exists on a blockchain somewhere doesn't mean that it's processable or it's ingestible. So we ask for an API endpoint. They can say, go get it on the blockchain in our proprietary format. And
so is that something that has to be built before the DEX is launched and be built into the contract, or is that stuff that can be drawn out after?
It can be, it can be done. It can be done later, and generally, it's not part of a smart contract. It's part of it's like a front end interface to the blockchain data, and there are exchanges, there are DEXs that have provided the level of transparency in a format that's meaningful to a site like us, and are A rated. But right now, most of the DEXs do not have a high transparency grade, which is something we're getting flack for. And I know why we're getting flack. I guess I would counter to the people that are saying that's a incorrect judgment call, is I would say that for many of these DEXs, getting high granularity trade data is not something that most people are able to do, just because the data is pretty inaccessible at scale, and so they should conform to sort of like standards and provide easily readable sort of standardized API endpoints.
So do you have a roadmap for them to
We do. Yeah. We've got a spec. We actually spec out for them exactly how they should create their API. And they don't have to follow it, but we absolutely have guidelines in place and a spec. And we tell them, if you follow this spec, we will absolutely give you an A grade, like, no ifs, ands, or buts.
So you're just preserving your integrity and, making sure that they comply so that you guys can keep with your integrity, right? I mean, is that?
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. I would say that not everything on the blockchain is accessible. And so, just because a DEX is on chain doesn't mean like inherently that their data is transparent. That there still are standards there, and not every DEX is meeting them. But I think you're going to see some changes from us pretty soon here to try and bring more DEXs into the fold. DEXs have a series of constraints that are inhibiting them due to the constraints of the blockchains that they're on, and also the size of their dev team and support requirements and a whole bunch of other things. And a lot of these exchanges were not created from day one to be great at data transparency. They were created to solve like maybe a short-term problem, and then they happened to take off and they got popular, and they were created by people who had never run exchanges before, who had never provided data feeds to aggregators, and so I feel like really compassionate towards these exchanges, and I'm sorry that we can't give them all A grades, but we will list them all. We will list every exchange. We'll be the first to add you. We want to we list more active exchanges than anyone else.
Nice.
So I'm proud of that. But there's always
more
work to do. Yeah,
you should be very proud of what you've done, because I've been in the space a long time and I haven't seen anybody speak with the integrity that you've spoke with and seen it in your face. Because that's one thing I do is I can sit down and talk to somebody and read them and go, okay, this guy's a real motherfucker or not, and you're a real motherfucker, and I like that, and that's what I wanted to see.
I appreciate that. Yeah, from day one, like, we listed our phone number on the website. I was appearing with my face on interviews, and the original founder of CoinMarketCap. Like nobody know, like, I haven't seen what his face looks like. Nobody knows anything about him. He did like some interview on stage at an event that they had, and like he was wearing like a mask, or like they obscured his face so you couldn't see who he was. And I understand that. I understand why people sort of want to protect their identity and stuff. Yeah. But I think when you're in the business of, it just depends what business you're in. And yeah. I think that we decided to go one route, on that.
I'm going to be completely kind of on it. I call bullshit on all of the non-doxing stuff, because I know so many people that have been completely doxed. I mean, my next door neighbor has a freaking Rolls Royce, and he doesn't hide himself when he goes to the grocery store in my neighborhood, Yep. People know his name. He writes checks to the gardener, all that kind of stuff. And yep. And I know people who have, multiple millions of dollars, and they don't worry about people stealing their identity on a daily basis out here in the real world. For some reason, in crypto and all this, it's this big deal. I understand that our wallets are vulnerable and our data is vulnerable because we are online, and we do, but you got to take precautions and keep all of your stuff offline, and keep your keys safe. That's for sure.
Yep.
But I don't buy into that whole security thing. But
yeah, I think it's a way for some people to just sort of like, sort of duck out of the public conversation and not be accountable for their choices. And so all things being equal, I'd rather show up and answer the tough questions. I'd rather show my face. I'd rather everyone know like who we are and why we're here and what we stand for. And I feel like it's consistent with our brand, to tell you my name and show my face. And speak to my
That's
history.
appreciated in the space. That's appreciated in the space. And
Awesome.
did you know? Just to change the subject real quick and talk about another. Did you know that Richard is forking ETH?
Yeah. So it's PulseChain, right?
Pulse, yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Whew. All right. So I'm going to be transparent here. So I'm not informed enough to have a strong opinion. I think there's good reasons to do it, and there are good reasons that one would do that, and there are bad reasons that one would do that. And I started out, or at least at one point I was a professional blogger, and I noticed that the blog is a mistake that I believed some of the more popular bloggers would make is as soon as they established one popular blog, they would create another they'd create another blog, and then they'd create another blog. And my advice to them was always to double down on the thing that works and go deep rather than go wide. And I've seen that with podcasters as well. Peter McCormick started one podcast and then he started a second one. And I think that leads to split energies. And so, I think to the extent that, if Richard is doing this because he likes starting, new blockchain projects or new tokens, then I think that'd be a bad reason to do it. I think if it's, purely in the service of Hex, then it's probably a good thing. But I'm no expert on Ethereum infrastructure and everything that goes into this and the security model that's needed. I do think that one of the beautiful things about Ethereum is it seems to have these like second order network effects. So there's the network effect around Ethereum, and then there's the network effect around all the tokens that are built on Ethereum. So USDC, Hex, like there are all these communities that whose incentives are very much aligned with Ethereum. And I think that what's going on with staking on Ethereum could be really, really powerful. Yeah. So I'm very bullish on Ethereum long term. I don't know. I just don't know enough to have an informed opinion at all. But I think there are definitely pros to staying with Ethereum, but perhaps PulseChain is the best way to go. So I don't really know. I'm gonna keep staking my Hex, and we'll see how this all plays out.
Well, yeah, the jury is out on it. I mean, you're right. Everybody has their mixed opinions on it, and even within our community, I mean, everybody's very excited about it because of what we do know about Ethereum and the history of Ethereum and scaling, and what scaling has morphed into. The different the roll-ups and the side chains and the all of the things that they've been trying to attempt to accomplish in order to scale. The technologies are there. They're there. They're ready to go. 2.0 is kind of almost ready to go. So everything's there. And I think that what is about to happen with this EIP, EIP 155, is that what it is? I'm probably saying it wrong, but I know that it's the law basically governing the miners and how fees are going to be aggregated. I know that Hex is, when you stake and unstake, it's computationally robust. There's a lot of computation that has to be made in order to calculate your stake. So as this EIP came out, it quadrupled the costs of the computation costs. Oh, wow. So it isn't just that the fees are going up, but they are going to go up and then quadruple for hexagons who unstake. So literally, like anybody who staked a small amount of hex, $150, even up to a few $100, you might not even be able to unstake that. because of these fees that are hitting. So basically what Richard did is out of necessity said, okay, look, this is what I'm going to do. I know all of this technology. He's been talking about it since we started launching. He said, hey, if we had to, and he's always said this to the community, if we had to, Hex can be lifted off of one chain and put onto another. We can do that. Technology's there. It's available. And he has been talking about the scaling capabilities that are out there and how those can be utilized in another chain. And so, just recently he announced, hey, look, this is getting ridiculous, because literally people right now are letting stakes just bleed out. They're just sitting there bleeding out because you can't unstake them. So people are literally losing money on smaller stakes who staked, who didn't stake very long, which another argument for staking long. As Hexicans, we always tell everybody, hey, stake long, stake large, stake long. So any of these stakes that are short and not very large, they're getting bled out because you can't even unstake them.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. Well, then it sounds like the logic is sound there. So cool.
Yeah. So that's out of necessity. That's what's happened. And it's not, it's definitely, see, here's the cool thing about Richard. He doesn't have to do all this. He built Hex, and he was kind of like, what he's doing is he's coming to the community and saying, okay, I'm going to help out here, and this is what I'm going to do next, and this is what I'm going to do next. And he said this isn't working for the Hexican community, so I'm gonna do this, and that's basically how he's come to us with it. And I give him a lot of credit for it, because he doesn't have to. I mean, the man's retired. He built something great. It's on the chain. There's nothing else needs to be done with it. Hex is complete. He doesn't have to do this, but he is, and because he sees a problem and he wants to address the issue.
Cool.
So
it's like fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully Nomics will be the first place to list the PulseChain coin and the new token and all that.
We're counting on it. We're counting on it, Clay.
We'll be there when you launch.
Right on. Well, hey man, you got anything you want to ask the Hexkin community? How about you guys? You guys got any questions for Clay? Because we're an hour into this, and Clay's not used to Hexkin streaming, so I'm just letting you guys know. You
guys are long for it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I should probably wrap it up in about 5 minutes here. I gotta get the kids to bed and stuff.
Right on. Well, hey, just to let you know, the community has asked. They said, "Hey, we're all meeting in Vegas. We're having our first Hex meetup in the end of June in Vegas. So they've invited you, obviously. So you've been invited as a guest of honor to Vegas. If you'd like to come down or up or wherever you're at, we're going to be in Vegas at the end of June, and you'll get an email and an invite. But we're not doing anything formal. We're just going to have a meetup in a couple of meetings at some hotels and stuff, and hang out. And this is going to be the precursor to next year. We're actually going to plan a convention, a Hex convention in Vegas. So this is going to be just the first, kind of family meetup, and we're all gonna get together out there. So
cool.
You're invited.
Sounds like fun. I've gotten my second vaccination.
Cool.
And so hopefully I'll be all clear, and there won't be any COVID variants that are freaking everyone out, and hopefully it'll be possible.
Right on. All right, Clay. Thanks for coming, bro. We appreciate you, and keep on doing what you're doing, and we cannot wait to see what you guys do next. We're excited for what Nomics is doing out there.
Yeah, and we're super grateful to the Hex community and the support you've thrown our way. It's been helpful, and we continue to do we intend to continue doing what we're doing, and so keep on fighting the good fight, and just the spirit of what you're doing is pretty cool. All right, take care.
Right. All right, Clay, take care, man. We'll see you.
Bye.
All right, everybody. That was Clay, and we have gotten an interview from a real live crypto community member. Let's see. Sorry, constructive. Blue bum. Whatever. I'm not a technical guy. I just wanted you guys to see who he was. You guys can ask technical questions. Nobody asked any technical questions in the chat, so save your shit And next time he's on one of the tech shows, you guys can ask him, put him on Wales' show, and you guys can talk to him about tech stuff. I'm not a tech guy. I just want to know what made that man tick and why he wanted to put Hex on, because you know what? When it comes down to it, that's really all that matters. Why did he do it? What kind of guy is he? That's all I want to know. I don't know what kind of tech's involved and this and that and the other. So if you wanted to get into Hex, what did you do? You watched Hours of Richard, and what did you look for? You looked for the ticks in his face. You looked if he was telling the truth. And that's what I realized, was that I didn't care about the tech that he was talking about, Hex. I cared about who Richard was as a human being, and he sounded like a real down motherfucker. So that's why I got involved, and that's why I did what I did, and get in Hex and aped in and became part of the community and helped develop it. I want to know who the human beings are involved in this shit, because for too long, people have been hiding behind bullshit, hiding behind technology, hiding behind, crap, and they've been scamming people out. Show me who you are, how you tick, and let me see if I can trust you. And then we can build off of that, because that's where crypto needs to go. We need to be able to trust each other, because in such a trustless fucking environment, we have no trust. And that's what we need. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys. That was RG3's way of doing an interview. Take care. We'll see you guys.